Hey guys, this is David Patrick Green, the founder and creator and chief hacktor of Hack Hollywood. So today I want to talk to you guys about the psychology of casting. Now, what does that mean? Well, what it means is what are casting directors and also by association producers and directors and anyone else who's in an audition, what are they thinking? What is it that they are doing and thinking when it comes time to audition you and eventually hire you? Well, one of the first things, of course, they're going to look at is how much experience do you have. So when they're deciding whether they should call you in, they're looking at basic things like experience. But if they don't know you, then they have to factor in other things, meaning if they don't know your experience, they don't know you professionally, but they may know you another way. Maybe you have spent some time interning with them and you've proven yourself to be very helpful, very resourceful, someone with a lot of self-initiative who doesn't need to be told what to do. And so some of those factors can come into play when it comes time to choosing an audition or an actor for an audition. Now, personally speaking, I got my start because I was able to apply a little bit of psychology to some casting directors that I knew, and I had made myself incredibly invaluable at their offices. I did a lot of interning for them to the point where I was actually running producer sessions on the lot at Universal Studios for a top 10 TV show. Now, when you have that kind of responsibility, that means that they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And once you've gotten to that level of being known, liked, and trusted, well, when it comes time for them to do something for you, maybe helping you with your career, they're probably going to go out of their way to try and give you auditions, and then if you do a good job in the audition, to make sure that you're the actor who gets hired. Let me run through a little scenario for you, okay? Because I didn't really understand this at the time, but if you are reading for a role, and let's say they can hire 4 or 5 different actors. Maybe they've seen 50 actors for a particular role, but they've boiled it down to maybe 4 or 5 that they could go, any which way. The producer, they have their favorites. The casting director has their favorites. They're trying to make a decision. So, all other things being equal, who's going to get the job? Well, I believe that if you are someone who they know, like, and trust, let's say the producer looks over to the casting director and says, I don't know, Betty. I don't know who to hire. I like them all. What do you think? Well, when the casting director gets asked their opinion, if they have somebody that they would prefer got the job, then they'll just say, well, I think so-and-so should get it. So in my case, when I was running producer sessions, I don't know if this happened or not, but human nature and behavior being what it is, I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. I had become so invaluable that when my time came and they liked the job I did for a particular audition on this amazing show, and they said, well, who are we going to hire? Somebody probably said, why not hire David? He's really been helpful. And the producers and directors knew this because I was around them a lot as well. And so why don't we just give it to David? He deserves it, and let's give it to him. I don't know if that's what happened, but I did get the job. And it was a small enough part that I'm sure many people could have done it. There was nothing about the way I looked. I'm sure there was nothing particularly amazing about the way I acted so that they, said they had to hire me. It boiled down to a preference, okay? And so what you need to do is somehow get casting directors, producers, directors on your side psychologically. You need to make yourself very appealing and attractive to them. And I don't mean physically attractive. Sure, that doesn't hurt sometimes, but sometimes roles require you to be not looking your best. So what's really important is that to casting directors, you look like a supermodel all the time because of how responsible you are. Maybe you've helped them out a lot in the past. Maybe you pop into their office and just ask them if they need anything. Any type of thing that helps you build a relationship so that casting directors think of you as a human being that they have a relationship with instead of a headshot. And that's one of the reasons why headshots are very ineffective at getting people auditions. Because if you don't have a relationship with someone, then what is a picture going to get you to do? Again, unless you're a supermodel or you're very young, in which case they might bring you in not just based on your talent or a relationship, based on your appearance or something like that, most of the time and most of the people are getting called in not because of their headshot, but because there is some type of relationship. And that relationship could be you have a ton of experience and they recognize you, they've seen you a lot on television before, so they think they know you, or maybe they really know you, okay? And when you don't have a lot of experience, when they really know you as a person and think of you as a human and they know your personality traits and they think of you in a very favorable way, then they're going to give you more auditions, and then when you get those auditions and you do a good job, they're going to actually try and get you the job because they now have a stake in your success. When you are friends with someone, when you spend time together, when you have a relationship, you want them to succeed. And so casting directors, and through casting directors also producers, because if a casting director likes you, they will introduce you to producers and directors and agents, and they will want you to succeed. For instance, again, one single casting director I'm talking about, I had spent a lot of time with them, they had gotten me roles, then at some point they said, look, just tell us what roles you want to read for, and we'll just make the appointments. And I thought, oh, that's great. I don't have to even submit myself for stuff. So then they're calling me for appointments, and eventually one of them said, do you not have an agent, David? We're always calling you directly, and sometimes we don't get you on the phone, and if it's a short, lead time, then we're worried you're going to miss an audition. Would you like an agent? Do you have an agent? And I said, no, I don't have an agent. Would you like one? And I thought, well, I'm doing pretty well without one, and as you might know from some of my Hack Hollywood material, getting an agent too soon, I believe, actually can hurt your career. But I was doing pretty well, and I thought, well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to have somebody submitting me as well as all the stuff that I was doing. And so I said, sure, I wouldn't mind having an agent. Well, what do I know? But the next day or two, I start actually getting phone calls from agents saying, hi, so-and-so told me to call you, said you're a very talented actor and that you're unrepresented. Would you be interested in talking to us? Now, I know most of you at home have never had an agent pick up a phone and call you without solicitation, without you sending them a headshot, without you going to some kind of workshop. Most people have never been called by an agent. They may have called agents, although most of you haven't done that because you've been told never to call an agent. But most people have never received a phone call from an agent that didn't already represent them. And let's face it, most of us who are even represented by agents often don't get calls from them for a variety of reasons. So anyway, I'm just trying to make you understand that if you do things a certain way and you sort of get onto the radar of people like casting directors and producers and directors, there are a lot of things not only that they can do, but there are a lot of things that they will do. Because casting directors are people too, okay? We are all people and we all respond to things in more or less the same way. And when someone helps you out and you like them, you know them, you trust them, you think highly of them, you want to see them succeed, okay? So create relationships with people like casting directors and they will start to think of you not just as an actor, not just as a headshot, in which case they really barely think of you at all, and get them to start thinking of you as a person they have a relationship with. They might be sitting around, they might read something about a script or a breakdown, and they might actually think of you, okay? As opposed to, oh, okay, we have to cast this role. All right, send out a breakdown, and then thousands of headshots come in. They don't have anyone in mind. They're just going to look at the pictures. So wouldn't it be cool if a casting director was reading a breakdown and thought of you and went, you know who would be great for this? David Patrick Green. And without even submitting for it, they call you up and say, hey, do you want to read for this? So that's kind of the way things can work for you if you do things the right way. If you think of casting directors as people and get them to think of you as a person, then there's an amazing relationship that goes on. And it's just called human interaction, which is exactly the way all other businesses work, and it is the way the entertainment business works. But when you're just getting started, sometimes you think of these people, you put them on a pedestal because you don't know how to get to them. And you do a lot of crazy things that you know don't feel right, but you know that you've been told not to do certain things like phoning and popping in and all this other stuff. And while maybe that's true if you're not qualified to be a professional actor, if you have the qualifications to be a professional actor, or you actually are a professional actor, then it is your responsibility to do a lot of the things that a lot of people in the business will tell you not to do. Because if you're not going to introduce yourself to professionals, who else is going to do it for you? Is your headshot going to do it? I don't think so. Are postcards really going to do it? I don't think so. What would you do if you were them and you got 1,000 postcards and 1,000 headshots every day? Could you possibly choose one actor from a pile of headshots? Do you even have the time to look at all those headshots and all those postcards? I'm not going to answer that question, but see if you can guess what I'm thinking. So, guys, that's all I want to say on this subject. Really, the psychology of casting directors and the psychology of casting is the psychology of human behavior. People respond to people they know, they like, and they trust. And if you can develop a relationship with a casting director where you both know, like, and trust each other, then that'll be a long-lasting relationship, and you will both win in the end. Because they will have found people to play roles that they have to cast, and trust me, it isn't always easy to find the right person for the right role. So if they know what you can do really well, it's great for them. They can rely on you. Oh, David Patrick Green would be great for this. I know, they know that, okay? And they're helping you because they're helping you get work and further your career and so on and so forth. And obviously, once you've gotten started, then, as I mentioned before, these professionals can introduce you to all of the other professionals that are in the business, and soon they will become your fans as well. And you can leverage the first few relationships that you have into a multitude of relationships where everybody thinks of you in that favorable way. So that's all I have to say on the psychology of casting for now, and look forward to seeing you guys inside Hack Hollywood, where we can do some serious hacking. I'll talk to you soon, guys.